Hello, how's everybody doing? Um, this is going to be the video. The last one I did was really something. I mean, like, what happened, I was doing it on panic attacks. And something happened while I was the, um, doing the YouTube. I was trying to cut everything like really, really short, like because I didn't want to do a long video. I didn't want it to be so detailed. I wanted to just explain some things to you and get right to the point. But when I was remembering it with a bad time, when I was remembering it, I had like a dump. I mean, it's like a dump in my head. It was like all of the information about the time I was talking just came like and just flushed right in front of me. I mean, it was like in my head, but it was like all the information. It was a lot of information, and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know. I didn't know what was happening. I thought that something was going wrong, but it was just that all the information came to me. So I was like, when I was doing the YouTube, it's the last one I did. If you look at it, you'll see that I was like, um, it was almost like a shock. It was like I didn't know what to do. And I wanted to remain calm and everything because I was talking about the panic attacks. And then it was like something happened and it was like a dump, a whole, just all the information came. I was going to show you in like pieces of paper. I was going to cut up a lot of pieces of white paper in little squares and then just like throw them down to show you how it felt. But that's how it felt. It was almost like all these papers just like came rushing down. And then I knew that I couldn't pick out information that I wanted on that subject. It was really an experience. And when I cut off the YouTube, I didn't know what to do. I was like, what happened? And that also is going to explain to you my type of personality and also the people who usually, like me, may get panic attacks is how we view things. And like that changed, the thing that happened to me in my last YouTube where some people would know what was happening. They would say, "Oh wow, all this information is coming at me." Where I'm the type of person, and there's others like me, who every little thing that's a big occurrence, you feel like there's something wrong. So I'm more like a person. Somebody told me it was like, I forgot. I don't know. I think they call it a one time I was doing taxes with this lady in Colorado Springs, and everything was going just perfect. And I told her that, oh, there's got to be something bad. So she called it a certain type of person. She called it anyway. If I come up with it, I'll think of it. But it's that type of person that would usually get a panic attack. Like when something like that happened to me in the last YouTube, instead of me saying, "Hey, this is a lot of information," and the information is what's happening is a big flush or a dump of information is coming, or most people would think that, but for me and people like me, they wouldn't think that. They would say, "Oh, something's wrong." Okay, so I thought something was wrong, and when I finished the YouTube, I mean, I didn't feel bad. Actually, I could have enjoyed it, but I was like, "What happened? What happened?" And I noticed that nothing was going wrong, and I had to think about it for a while. And then I came up with the point that it was a lot of information, all that whole occurrence, because I was concentrating on the occurrence, and all the information came to me which it was impossible for me to like cut that thing short or pick out different points. So we're going to start it off from there. And also, this one is going to show you because the reason why I did the panic attacks is because it's going to help you because it's something that helps you once I got used to them. I got to see why I was having the panic attacks. Okay. So I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna start. Like I said, I'm not gonna. I'm almost sure everybody that listens to this one is gonna listen to the last one. So this is gonna be on panic attacks, and I'm gonna kind of like I'm gonna depend on what I said the last time. Like I said, I wasn't doing there very well. I was in Jamaica, Queens, and I'm going to give you more. I'm going to make it more a little bit more information because I was trying to cut. My problem was is I was trying to cut the information out that I wanted, and it didn't work because like if you're concentrating on something and you're trying to remember something, that memory comes back. But that's the first time when I had the whole thing came back at once. So when I was in Jamaica, Queens, now I'm starting it again. I'm also going to put this one, I'm going to give some updates because I'm working like, I did a lot of work on, control, like I said, which is going to be the next one. And that's going to be Expert 3C. That's going to finish all the Expert 3 out, okay? 3C. I've been working on it. I did at least 100 hours more on that one. And I did, now I'm also doing the next one after the Expert 3, which I don't know if I'm going to make it 4 or I'm going to make it into called Power, okay? It's starting Power, okay? Which is awesome. I'm also going to talk about on another one is going to be about the mathematics of dance without music. It's just like everything has, if you have something that is an art, which is, I'm almost sure this is developed into an art, like I said, it's really big. If you do dance or if you do choreography, when this is finished and people actually do it, um, the dance that you choreograph will be able to be copywritten. Okay. Okay. So anyway, getting back to the panic attacks. Like I said, when I was in Jamaica, Queens, and I mean, I'm sorry for the last one. It seems like I was really out of it, but I was out of it. But like I said, I was thinking, I forgot the word that someone told me it was a fatalist. Okay, like I'm always thinking something is fatal. Okay, and if it's not, I feel that something's wrong. So that's kind of like my personality, which I have to work on to not think like that. So that's what the lady, when I was just explaining to you, that's what the lady who was preparing my taxes, she said I was a fatalist. So anyway, so here I am. I'm at the I'm at Jamaica, Queens, in New York, and I explained it if you want to get the details. But I'm um, going to utilize the fact that I already talked about this this panic attack thing. Okay, and when I first before these panic attacks, I had never had a panic attack before that I know of. And another thing too is I didn't even know what a panic attack was. Okay. So here I am in Jamaica, Queens, not knowing anything about panic attacks or what a panic attack was. So I didn't get panic attacks, okay? And if you want to understand as far as what I'm talking about now, you listen to the one beforehand, but I'm sure everybody's listening to that one who's going to listen to this one. So anyway, at first I knew the where I was staying, and I explained to you how it was when I was staying there. Um, the first part, I mean, like I said, I was there. It was the same time to give you a little bit. I wasn't keeping time. Usually, if you're in a state like this or you're in a bad state or something, sometimes you don't. People wonder why they don't remember certain things is because you don't keep time. Some people, when you don't keep time, it's not something abnormal. It's just something, you're not in the flow of things. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, at work you always say what day is it, or you know what day it is, or when you're at school you know what day it is. But I was kind of like separated from that at that point. But to let you know around what time it was the time when O.J. Simpson was, because I remember I would always listen to the radio. It was the time when he was in the car chase with his best friend. That's the only thing that I remember that was going on the radio, you know. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't watch TV. I didn't have a TV, and that's the only thing I heard on the radio all the time. They had a special report with OJ being in a police chase or something, and something about his best friend. So that's around what time it was, but I wasn't keeping time. So a lot of things I don't remember, like what else was going on. Um, so when I first got to that room, and like I said, how it was, I told you in the last one. Um, some of the things that happened was, how can I say? How am I gonna put this? Okay, I guess that didn't happen first. Okay, one time I was at the post office. I don't know if you know about New York, but there was a big post office over by 34th Street, I think. And I was sitting on the steps. I usually sit on the steps. There's a nice place to sit on the steps because they have like a lot of people sitting on the steps, and they're big. It's a big area, and it's, you can watch the people and everything like that. I'm almost sure it's close by 34th Street. Although it's been a long time. And one time this girl was sitting there and we just clicked and then we started talking, and she was from Switzerland. And I had just been in the room, and I don't know, she decided that because she asked me where I was living, and I told her in Jamaica, Queens, and she wanted to, I don't know, I guess we wanted to spend some time together. We just clicked and we just liked each other. Anyway, I ended up going to her hostel, and she was going to get her things, and then she was going to take the bus from where I lived to to uh, to her plane or whatever, because I'm almost sure it was closer than it was in Manhattan to where she had to go, because she had to take a bus, and then I think she had to take a plane or something. I'm not sure, but she had to take a plane because she's from Switzerland. So anyway, plus we clicked and we wanted to spend some time together. So we spent some time together. We had a nice time. I went to the hostel. She picked up her things. We did some things, like got coffee. We really enjoyed each other because she smoked, I smoked, she smoked Campbell's. I remember that. But she also smoked marijuana, but I don't like marijuana. I never did. A lot of people don't believe that, but I've never ever liked marijuana, or joints or whatever you call them. I have a lot of friends who did it, and a lot of people can't believe that I never tried it, but I never tried it. I mean, I smelt it when they did it, but I never really liked it. Drugs I never really liked. But I never put anybody down who did them. And I associate with a lot of people who did, like drugs, and who also did marijuana. I had a beautiful time with those people, but I was never interested in anything like that. So anyway, she liked marijuana, but we didn't do it. We didn't talk about it because, I guess she saw that I wasn't interested in it. So anyway, I think we ended up. So she came over to Jamaica, which is far away from Manhattan. Kind of far. There's a big train station. You can get there, and then you have to walk after that, because from the Jamaica station, I would walk at least. It was to where I lived, at least a 20-minute walk to where I lived. So anyway, she stayed with me. She came into the room, and she was nice because she didn't. She just adjusted. I mean, it was like I knew it was nice for her because I had been in France once, and I know you like to talk to just people who are from there who don't sometimes you just want to talk to just normal, regular people. I mean, you don't want, it's just so enjoyable because that's how I remembered when she came. I remembered how I was when I was in France, Paul, France. I love Paul, France. That's where I visited, and I remember how nice it was just talking to regular people. Somebody that clicks with you. So that's one reason why I understood her position. So we talked. We had a beautiful time, and I remember when we got into bed. Um, of course, I didn't do anything with her because I mean it wasn't anything like that. Because first of all, I wasn't trying. Like I said, like now I can say I didn't say it back then, but I wasn't. I never really was attracted to females. I mean, I could do things because I didn't, at that time, I didn't know um, that there was a reality of being gay. I didn't know that there was a reality. So I just had to fit in with everybody else. But at that point in time when she came, I wasn't going to, I mean, I didn't, it wasn't any position to where I felt I had to do something. We were just friends. So we talked a long time in the room and everything, and she felt comfortable. I felt comfortable. But I remember when we got in bed and the lights went out because I had to take my contacts. I can't see anything without contacts. And I took my contacts out and we were in the bed, and she goes, "Oh, there's a rat up there." I didn't even know that there was rats coming into the room. It was like, but of course, because I knew I had to live there and I didn't think anything about it, I just, didn't even, I just like calloused myself like, oh wow, there's nothing I can do. So she goes, the rat is looking at us. You can see it there. I said, I can't see because I don't have my contacts on. But she was nice because she didn't like go crazy or anything. So anyway, we had a nice night. Then when we woke up in the morning, she cooked something for breakfast because we had a kitchen. Like my room was next to the kitchen, and you could see in the last video, in the last YouTube about panic attacks, you would understand about how the rooms were. But outside my room was the kitchen. First, you had the refrigerator, real small kitchen, and then they had a dinner table, kind of small dinner table outside my door. I had a door, of course, and then next to the kitchen they had like showers. Okay, so everything was compact. But I remember her sitting down, and she just had a beautiful breakfast, and she was just enjoying herself. We really had anyway. She stayed. I'm almost sure it was just one night because we were getting ready because she had to get ready to pack to go. Okay, but she was having so much fun. I think she wanted to stay. You know, if I had to do over again, I would really wish that she stayed longer. You know, but I was feeling kind of embarrassed because I wasn't really doing very well, and I was like nothing. But she really, really was nice because it didn't phase her whatsoever. You know, she really enjoyed it, and she took my address. And I remember after we ate breakfast, so she only stayed one night. And after we ate breakfast, we had to walk. I'm almost sure it was closer to her to get to the plane station, to get to the plane or wherever she was going, because she figured everything out. And I think that's one of the reasons why she just wanted to stay. The big deal was that we got along together. So I remember walking with her, and we were going to the bus, and she got upset because I'm almost sure she wanted to stay longer. I mean, I don't know. I'm almost sure she was like, I want to stay, what I mean? But you know I don't know. I don't know how she could have stayed. If I had to do it over again, though, I would wish that I would have pushed her. Oh, why don't you stay? But anyway, I just told her, oh, you have to go. I mean, it's just like it's time. I mean, the bus is coming and everything. I think that helped her to go, though. So anyway, she got on the bus, and I waved goodbye to her. And it was funny because after, like, I did get mail back from her. She wrote me, and she sent me. And it's funny because the Europeans, they used to always write on like sheet paper, but back then everything was expensive as far as mail and telephone calls. You couldn't just call somebody internationally back then. It was very expensive. And then you couldn't just mail letters because it was expensive. I mean, everything, well, mail is still expensive. So in Europeans, because I even remember in France, they would always use very thin paper because they would weigh on it. But she wrote me a long letter, maybe like 3 pages, 3 or 4 pages, and she put pictures of her father, she put pictures of her mother, she put pictures of her family, she put pictures of them in the balcony, on the balcony or patio of their house. And I wish that I was in doing better to where I could really enjoy the letters back. And it seems like a lot of times in my life I was like that. I mean, I had really beautiful things happen to me, but I'm almost sure it happened to other people too. And then you're seeing this beautiful thing, or you're on vacation or something very beautiful, but you're not really doing very well. So you got something on your mind and you can't really enjoy it as much. Anyway, when she, because I remember the lady upstairs, I guess that's the landlord, she came down, she goes, "You have mail." And I remember getting the mail from her. And I just wish I would have, or I didn't write her back. I just wish I wrote her back. I don't really have many things that I would say that I would do something different. Hardly anything. But if I had that to do over again, I would stay in contact with her. I don't even remember her name, but I lost the letters and everything like that. It's so sad. And I hope the best for her. I know she worked at the post. I'm almost positive she worked at the post office in Switzerland though, because I remember her saying that one time she was late. Okay, I can't stay too long on this. She was late for work and she stopped the cars that were driving and said to take her to work because she couldn't be late for work. So anyway, that was one of the things that happened to me, and that was nice. But then after that, there was some other thing. So then after that, I remember my bed. No, I'm not going to say that because this is then I okay because I had there was some bugs in my bed, but didn't have anything. It was already there, so I'm almost sure she got the bugs and I got the bugs because I didn't realize. I don't know if this happened before or after or during the panic attacks. Okay, but it didn't have anything to do with her or me because we didn't do anything. We didn't do any sex or anything like that. But I remember this is another time. I don't want to put that in with this because it didn't have anything to do. But I know on the bed, because this was a used bed, and then I would see these little bugs. I guess they call them crabs or whatever. But I know she didn't have anything to do with it. But it was already on the bed, and I hope that she didn't get it either. But I got those, and I went to the hospital, and I knew it. I didn't do anything sexually because I wasn't doing anything sexually, and I know the doctor thought I was. But anyway, she gave me some medication, and I had to shave my hair, and I had to put all this whatever medicine all over my body, and then dry it, and then take a shower or whatever. But anyway, it was in the bed. I mean, it was like infested in the bed. So that's another bad thing that happened. But I'm almost sure it must have happened before her because I remember when we got in bed, I got this flyer or something. Um, I remember when maybe I got it in my hand, no, but I remember that we put something in the cover because I told her something or something like that. So then after that, that was some things that happened before I started doing the panic attacks. Then after that, I told you I wanted something to do, and this is from the last one. So I started reading books. I got like 4 books, and I started I started reading the books because reading 4 books at a time. And like I told you in the last one, I just don't read the books, but I try and understand what I'm doing while I'm reading. So it was a curriculum because I spent much time at night doing this, okay? And now I'm doing a little bit better because last I'm not chopping anything up and leaving out points because I got all the information now what happened to me the last time I was doing this. Um, so I kept doing that, okay? And I didn't realize that's the number one point, another point why we have, if you're the type of person I am, we would have panic attacks. Is because we don't realize we like to study almost as if it's like a drug, and we study and not just do was I doing the books, but I was also, which I'm used to, is seeing, observing what I'm doing while I'm reading. I was doing it to 4 books, okay? So little did I realize that it was going to have an effect. And this is also going to help you later on when I break this thing down. So it was having an effect on me. And if you want like background information and to understand this a little bit better, you have to listen to the last one because I can't go over. It's just best because these things can only be a certain a certain amount of time long. These YouTube, so it's good when I have something that I already related, not to repeat the same thing over again. So one thing that would happen to me, which I tried to cut out last time, was I noticed when I would this what was I was being affected by the curriculum, not negatively, but that's another thing that brings panic attacks is the fact that um, you don't realize that you did something and it's going to have an effect. Usually, it's not a bad effect, but I'm a fatalist, so I'm gonna think everything is bad anyway. So anyway, I would walk around New York and I started counting. I mean, like, I mean, not counting, which is very good because I use it in the Dance Without Music. Is just started like if I would sit down and there would be 5 of the same thing, my mind would go from each just go one, not counting, but from one sequence to the next. I would sequence everything. I mean, throughout the day, little did I know my curriculum was was doing this, okay? Because I was doing it too much. And it kept going and it kept going and whenever and there's a lot of sequences in New York, okay? So I was sequence everything and I just kept sequencing everything. Just everything. I mean, there's places like if I sit and smoke, it would go dum dum everything. Excuse me. So anyway, that happened. And then after that, I got used to that, and it didn't hurt me or anything. I think it would have hurted me if I wasn't used to doing the things that I do all the time. But I've always did certain things like this. But this was happening automatically without my control. Then I told you um, I was laying down, and then I tried to make that dream or whatever. You know, I concentrated on a dream. I'm not going to go into it because it's the last one. Then when I had that dream, I was trying to change something, and that's another thing that I have to explain. Um, this is detailed, and it's really hard, maybe for some people to catch. But you can't. I mean, everything that we do in Dance Without Music is my observance of how we work as one. Okay, so if I tell you something in Dance Without Music, it's because that's the way everybody else does it. And that's why you can understand it. But there is something that is against. I'm almost sure it's against the Catholic religion. I'm sorry, I had to put religion in it, which is important. And like I said, anybody can listen to this, whatever religion you are. But the things that I had to do, I was happy that I that I believed in something. You have to believe in something. As far as being a Catholic is concerned, I'm glad I had that backing because it helped me. Because when I was doing the dream, I was trying to change something that we do, that I do, and not everybody else does. So that's one thing that I'm almost sure that it's not that we can't do as Catholics. I don't know if it's in other religion. Is you can't change something in your mind. And I'm almost sure if you change something in your, because if you change something in your mind, which you can do, but you can't, and I don't care about what happens when you do it, because I'm not going to do it because I'm Catholic, and you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to change something, because I'm almost sure the reason why I think there's so many things that you can do, but I think if you change, and I think it has a negative effect on you. I know of someone who said that they can do certain things or whatever, but they had to do it against something. Okay, so I think that's what happened to me, was the fact that I was trying to change something. I was sleeping. I explained it to you last, and I wanted to stay in a dream. If I had did that, it would have changed the way I did things, and the way that I did things would not be the way that everybody else does things. So it would mess up my communication with a lot of people. So I'm happy that I was in the religion, and I didn't get baptized or anything, but as soon as I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I think it was God that, I'm sorry for saying this as far as the religion is concerned, who gave me the Catholic religion. It was like, because I was doing so much information, so much work, it was best, and I'm happy for this, that I was in some kind of a structure that I believed in. Okay, so I think that's what happened to me. And then when I jumped up and I couldn't breathe, and that's what started the panic attacks. So if you want to get the exact thing that happened, it was in the last one, but I can't explain it, everything, because I did it in the last video, and I don't think it's wise to, because we don't have that much time, because I mean everything is time limited. So anyway, then I explained to you why I started having the panic attacks. It wasn't just that, but I believe that's what triggered it. Because when I was trying to control my dream, and then I got up, it was like a defense that my mind has. And then I got up and I couldn't breathe. And then I told you about the ambulance. I called the ambulance and everything on myself. But then I never did anything like that. After that, I never did any changing of the mind. The only thing I did after that was I and I'm not saying anything about anybody. Really, I think any religion that you have that is good, I think I'm happy I'm Catholic, but any religion that is good, it's, if you're studying, you need that kind of a structure in order to make it through your studies, especially if it's a big study like what I'm doing. So anyway, and after that, I've never ever went through, tried to do something as far as changing the way the mind is, because I want to stay connected to everyone as one. Okay, so anyway, but then I still had the panic attacks. So as a punishment, or I don't know what it is, but I could not lay down. After that happened, I couldn't lay down and go to sleep regularly. I just couldn't. As soon, I just couldn't. So then I added another book, because it was the same time also when Insomnia came by, what's his name? The name of the book is Insomnia, and he wrote, the same guy who wrote Insomnia was the same one who wrote Misery, was the same one who wrote, what was the name of that? Pet Cemetery. I can't get his name right now, but he's very famous. And I could probably think of it, but he's very famous. but he wrote a book called Insomnia. And I needed that book so bad. I prayed and everything to get that new book because I was having insomnia. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lay down. I was sleepy sometimes, but I couldn't lay down because of that thing that happened to me. It wasn't just that thing with the dream, it was the fact that I was studying this curriculum that I didn't know would change the way I do things. So I was reading. So then after that, I went to the library and I got the book Insomnia. So then I was able to read it. So I added that book on, which is Insomnia. And I remember I just read the first part because the second part was beginning. It was like the same beginning. It was like doing the same thing over again. So I read the first part of Insomnia and it was very good. And I didn't feel that. Maybe I'll read the second part, but I just didn't feel that it was good enough. I also read a book. It was Clive Davis. I don't really like his books, but he had two good books that were very good. One was Everville, and one was Before Everville. I don't know the title. I don't know the name of it, but it was about this guy in a post office, and he started reading the mail of people of mail that didn't have an address or something that they were going to burn or whatever, and he learned something, and he started this reality. It's kind of the reason why I liked Everville and the book Before Everville was because they kind of twisted reality, which I really liked. Then after that, his other books, Clive Davis, were I couldn't handle them. I remember Candyman, that was too scary. I saw the movie. And all of his other books were so dark like that, I couldn't get into it. But I did see his movie. I didn't read it, but I did see his movie Candyman. So that's the only. I also was reading. There was one book about a priest, um, which I really liked. A very famous book. I can't remember the title. I'm not going to say it. Um, then there was another one I was reading, Sidney Sheldon. I think two of his books, one about nurses, and the other one about very famous about this lawyer lady who was very she was very poor or whatever, and she became a lawyer, and then she got hooked up with the mafia or whatever. But that one's very good, and that one was made a movie. So those are certain books that I was reading. So like I said, then after that I was like then I oh then I was having panic attacks, like I said, and not just panic attacks, but I couldn't lay down. I'm almost sure I couldn't lay down because of the currents that I had with the thing that I was doing with the dream. It was like my body would say, "No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that." Okay, so I couldn't lay down at all. I had to sit up because as soon as I laid down, I just it went crazy, you know. And and then like I said, and then there was panic attacks also. Okay, so then I had two things going on, especially the panic attacks. And if I go onto the train, anything that was like, now that I look back on it, it was not really bad. It was the fact that I was seeing more things because I was developing my studies, and somebody who didn't get panic attacks, they would go, "Oh wow, I'm more available. I mean, I can see more things in my mind. I could do more things." But to me, any change was like a panic attack. So like in a train, instead of just like being in a train, now when I was in a train, especially when I went in a tunnel, I would realize that before I didn't realize anything, I didn't care, but now my mind was expanded, and I knew that I was in a tunnel or whatever, and I would have a panic attack, and I couldn't wait until the train stopped, and I would get out the panic. I would get out the train and have a panic attack. Okay. So I was having back to back panic attacks. And then I remember one time I was in a diner and this guy talked to me. He was gay. And of course, I told you I didn't know I was gay, but I was like hiding it. But anyway, to him, it didn't make a difference because he was gay, so I could be gay. So So he started talking to me, and he liked me. I liked him. He was a very nice person. But he said one thing that I didn't really like. He said he was doing this business, and he showed me this book. He was doing sex toys. That's what he wanted to make a business out of. I didn't I didn't think anything bad about it or good or whatever because this is New York. Everything is there. He was a nice person. He wasn't like a sexual person. He just wanted to do it for money, make these. This was before the internet was big or whatever. So he wanted to make he wanted to sell sex toys. And as soon as he said that while I was talking, I still liked him, but I said to myself, it's not something I want to do. And he was, saying, he was just telling me his business. How he was doing his business and everything. He was already kind of successful. I think he was doing other things, not illegal. He was just a nice person. And I ended up like dating him for a little while. Of course, I was in this room, like I was telling you, but he was a nice person. We would walk around, we would talk, okay? And that's one thing I liked about him. He was a relationship. He was definitely a relationship person. And I went to his house, and oh, and this was the time, like I explained to you before, I was taking a medication, okay? I remember the psychiatrist, which I explained in the last one, the psychiatrist gave me a medication. And when I met this guy, I was taking the medication. The medication, you know what?